Let me know if you can get it.
Good morning. And we'll start off this morning with our invocation. Irene, if you would please lead us in that.
Sure. We come to you today asking for guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in a meaningful discussion. Fill us with your grace, Lord God, as we make decisions that might affect everyone, and continue to remind us that all that we do here today, all that we accomplish is for the greater of your glory. We ask these things in your name.
Amen. Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Take the pledge, please.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one indivisible.
All right. How about a roll call, Irene, please?
Yes, sir. Jerry Garcia,
Yes, ma'am.
Luis Elizondo,
Present.
Leo Gonzalez.
Here.
Devin Bacta,
Here.
Armando Chapa,
Here.
Caitlin Chu. She's gonna be out today. She's not coming.
I'm here.
She's on the.
She's on video.
It is.
Oh, I'm sorry. Gabriel Hill will not be here. Butch Poole,
Here.
Kevin Kishnick,
Here.
Ramiro Canales Chief,
Here.
Don Costi,
Here.
Melissa Vela, Tom Wheat, and Terry Nowak, TLO. We have a quorum, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you so much, Irene. I appreciate it. And is there anyone on public comment this morning, Irene?
No, sir.
All right. That being done, we'll go on to item number 6. Yes. 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 We'd like to go ahead and go on to into discussion or action consent agenda. And unless there's something specifically to bring out any of these items, I'll go ahead and accept the motion to approve the items as presented to us. Kevin makes a motion to approve the items as presented to us. Is there a second? Leo seconds that. Any further discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Let the record show it passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Now, Mr. Canales?
Mr. Chairman, thank you and good morning. At this time, I'd like to present a plaque for Mr. Tom Wheat. And with our grateful appreciation, we hereby honor Tom Wheat throughout your 32 years of service from 1990 through 22 to the Nueces County Appraisal District. Over all these years, Tom, we appreciate the work that you've done for the Appraisal District and being very forward and being very competent for the work that you do. It's greatly appreciated by the Appraisal District and its staff. I've been here since the year 2012, and since then, things have been very good as far as what we need to do. But like we all know, every so often, it comes a time when we have to make a decision as to what is best for us individually. And basically, it's something that we all go through. When it's time for us to say, I'm done, we are done. Whether you're a football player, baseball player, or an office holder, or even just a normal employee. But again, we appreciate the work that you have done for the Appraisal District over the years. I think that a lot of litigation has been very prosperous for you and for us in reflection, whether it was a boundary dispute or just a normal lawsuit that pertained to the Appraisal District. We appreciate all the work that you've done for the last 30 plus years. So saying that, I have a plaque here for you, and I'd like to commend you once again, and we appreciate all the work that you've done for the last 30 plus years. Tom Wheat.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you all very much. I love this place. I hate to leave it. Life moves on. I'm going to miss you. I wish the best to Melissa and the rest of the staff. all of you that I've had dealings with personally. I appreciate your time and effort and your patience. Thank you for this great honor.
Thank you very much, Tom. From the chairman of the board, I would like to say individually, job well done, Tom. Thank you. Thank you. Now we'll move on to item number 7. Elias, please.
Okie dokie, investment report third quarter 2022. The portfolio earned 1.9% versus a benchmark of 2.66%. The rates are rising. Just some tidbits, the Fed's target rate as of right now is between 3.75% and 4%. They're trying to achieve inflation of 2%. The latest inflation report was for November. It's year over year 7.1%. Here at the district, with the rising rates making the tax pool bond portfolio more attractive, switching from the bank now to tax pool. Because it means before I had to keep, like, say, $2.6 million in the bank to save $700 of fees when the rates were pretty much zero. That wasn't a big deal. Now it's become the opposite. I'd rather pay the $700 and earn $3,000 over in tax pool. It's economically better for the district. It's good news going forward as long as the rates continue to increase. The inflation, I don't know. So, and if the board would please adopt this or approve this investment report, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to.
That's a substantial interest rate difference from the last 2.66 as opposed to 0.
Yeah.
Or what was it, .2 or something like that?
0.0001
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah, like last year at this time, it was virtually 0.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I agree with your analysis on this. I'll accept a motion to accept the investment report from Elias.
Motion.
Leo makes that motion. A second, please. LA seconds that. Any further discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Let the record show it passes unanimously. Thank you very much. And also, Ms. Nowak showed up, Irene. Showed up late, as usual. I mean, showed up late, but she's here.
I didn't get any memo or email or anything that you were starting early.
And also, did you not get the memo, Terry, concerning the luncheon? That Devin didn't get that memo, and
Oh.
you didn't get it either. Okay. Now let's move on to item.
Rub it in.
Way to go, Irene. Now let's go ahead and.
She has her favorites.
You'd be surprised who's not a favorite.
Yeah. I didn't. As soon as I walked in, she goes, "Jerry, I meant to email you that we have a luncheon today." Hey, now we'll go on to item number 8. Ronnie?
I got
Yeah.
more notice.
Last one
Okay.
on the holidays.
Okay, it's kind of the Elias show today, so I'm going to talk fast because I know we have to get on to other things in the luncheon. Holiday schedule for 2023. As is custom, the board approves this every year. The holidays haven't changed, just the dates on the calendar have changed a little bit for the Fridays and Saturdays, but same 12 days. We're asking you to approve it.
You see this schedule in front of you?
Yep.
And we'll go ahead and accept the motion to accept this schedule, please.
So moved.
LA makes that motion. A second, please. Mando seconds that motion. All in favor, any discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Passes unanimously. Item number 9. Discussion on the purchase of laptops and related equipment. Elias, are you going to handle this, or Neil?
You said it was the Elias show.
Okay, so
Coward.
this one's a little unconventional because it's been a while since we had a board meeting. We had to go out and buy 32 laptops. In order to charge them to this year's budget, they have to be here by December 31st. So we called the board chair, harassed him, and asked, please give us permission, and then maybe the board can ratify that decision at its next board meeting, because like if we had done this today and kicked it off, we wouldn't have them until 2023 sometime. So we asked the board chair if we can spend $67,000 between board meetings, and he graciously approved. We got the laptops, everything is going great with those, and we're asking you to now ratify his decision to approve us to move forward with that purchase. It's fully budgeted.
We'll go ahead and accept the motion to approve what the chair did.
If we say no, does he get in trouble?
You say no, we have to box them up and send them back, and that's going to be a problem. I mean, you
We'll take
can.
no comments from you. Anything else? Let's go
And
ahead and get
no
a motion.
lunch.
Leo makes that motion. A second.
Second.
Butch seconds it. Any discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed unanimously. Thank you very much. Item number 10.
Elias Show again. So this is very Verge. We originally adopted their contract with a base year and then 4 one-year options to be approved by the board every year in case technology changes, legislation changes, which it did during the course of this 5 years. We have one more option year with them. We're very happy with them, and we'd like to move forward with them. There was a mistake in the board document, which is why Don's not doing this, and I am, because I have to own up to that. The estimated cost is $42,000 a year, plus the postage of about $110,000. So we're asking you to bless, if you will, one more year of their contract, then we have to go out for bids again.
And they've done, according to everything I've heard and talked to of staff and Ronnie, they've done an excellent job for us.
They are excellent.
And
We're probably going to use them next year
good.
in tax office.
Okay. So, Devin, I'll go ahead and take a motion to approve this.
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Butch seconds it. Any discussion? All in favor, vote aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Elias?
Okay, next item is in tab 11. This is a plumbing issue with the building. It's about an 80-year-old building, as far as I can tell. The original cast iron pipes under the building are now starting to go. They're starting to what they tell me is called bellying under the ground. It's leading to some outflow plumbing issues, particularly in the bathrooms. We're staying on top of it now through a combination of everybody in the building learning what to listen for and plunge and all of this in advance, or calling the plumber constantly, which is Irene. She does invite the plumber here a lot. So now we have to, she doesn't invite the chair, but she invites the plumber. Are they invited to the lunch? So we don't have an estimated cost yet. We just got the proposals, but they're all over the map. We got 3 of them, and I think they all have different understandings of the work. Even though we put out a consistent document, we had somebody come out in advance, tell us what's needed, measure it, all of that, provide a handwritten schematic. We tried our best to get everybody apples to apples. They are not. The bids so far range from $26,000 into like $83,000. So we have to work through the details with the plumbers on that, and then schedule everything, and the logistics of this are going to be a nightmare. Some proposed going under the building through digging from the parking lot gardens in. Others proposed breaking the foundation and going through there. So we've got to get them apples to apples and find out what the real deal is. But so that we don't have to wait for another board meeting, we're asking you to approve the chief appraiser up to $100,000, up to whatever dollar you want. But right now, we want to say $100,000 just in case there's things they all left out. Because you know how that goes. You get them to sign, and then here come the change orders, and we don't want any of that. So we're asking you to approve the chief appraiser to move forward when we get these things buttoned down, to move forward with the best proposal that provides the best value for the district, and just move forward with it from there.
We've talked about this issue, board members. I've met with Elias and Irene, Ronnie. We sort of have a general idea, and what I presented to Elias was to try to watch out for the pitfalls of the change orders, and that's really where the devil in the details, and so sometimes, I'm not saying it this time, but some of the times the least expensive bid is sometimes not the best bid, and we just need to, we've been very cognizant of that. I don't expect this to be I would be disappointed if it was over the number that we've talked about, which is about halfway. But there again, right now there's a tremendous labor shortage. There is a supply shortage, so we're looking at extenuating circumstances. So we'll see what we can do, but these folks have worked diligently on this and are actively trying to get us the best bid for what we need. And having plumbing problems, really the cast iron pipes that long outlived what they probably should have lived, and we've been going on borrowed time, and the sagging, or the bellying as it's called, is truly a difficult thing, because what happens is that a lot of the soil becomes unstable, and then we have more intrinsic problems with foundations and structures. So we need to try to get this thing as quickly as we can, and so that's why we've come to you to see how we can get that that motion approved and move on with this. So with that, we'll go ahead and open it up. Can I hear a motion to approve this?
So moved.
LA makes a motion to
Second.
approve it. Second, please.
Second.
Kevin seconds it. Any discussion on this motion?
Just a little further discussion, you know, this is one of those things that you don't really know what you've got until you start digging into it, you know, so
That's right.
the change orders are highly likely.
Right, but we tried to get,
Minimize.
you're right from a layman's point of view, but as a plumber or as a home builder, you try to get those questions answered to where you don't get real big surprises. So, with that being said, thank you, Kevin.
Is there a time frame on this?
Elias?
Well, we'd like to get it done as soon as possible if I can find the time to get it done.
Yeah.
And as far as the plumbing work goes, it's like Kevin just said, it just depends on if they go underneath or if they tunnel. I'd rather them go underneath instead of breaking concrete. This concrete is very, very aged. It's gonna be difficult to go through. So I would rather have them go underneath. But that is incumbent upon the plumbing company. But that being said, can I go ahead and, if you're in favor of the motion, vote aye, please?
Aye.
Opposed? Let the record show that it passes unanimously. Thank you. Next item, Elias.
No, Ronnie, Elias Show's taking a commercial break.
No, this is the update on the third floor renovation project. We're still working on it. We're still trying to get some bids for it. But as of today, we have not actually gotten the full bid. We're looking at a very expensive venture by trying to remodel at the point. We had, in the budget, we had asked for 3 additional appraisers, but in order for us to continue with the appraisers to hire for this coming year, we need to renovate the third floor to accommodate space for staff and go from there. But at this point, we're still waiting to get some good bids so that we can make a better decision to renovate the third floor. It's gonna be expensive. It's not gonna be as cheap as it was the last time, which was a couple of years ago, where we had to remodel the third floor to house the IT, GIS, and the ARB staff, and the ARB
Contingency, which you know how that goes. Money on the table to be absorbed by contractors. No offense to the current chair who's not invited to this. So right now, the estimate of the project looks like $475,000. And we're asking, I think, for the board's concurrence that we move further in the process with telling Javier, that's the architect, he wants to collect the bids for us. He knows the subject matter far better than we do. To go forward, start getting bids, and then maybe move on to that project. But what we're asking for you guys to do is to approve us moving forward in that process. Now, if you want to ix the whole project, well, then that's fine too. But, you know, as Ronnie stated, we do need to do something with the third floor to get more people up there so that we have more room for the growth on the other floors, because the inn is full.
The third floor, the builders and contractors that I've talked to that have come and seen it and reviewed it, met with Elias, and then in private discussions with them, they were real hesitant in coming in and doing work that was sort of like, well, we're not gonna do this, we may have asbestos, we may have, there's a lot of these things that we may have that we can't just sort of haphazardly come in and remodel. My contractors or builders rather that came in and looked at it wouldn't touch it without completely doing everything over. And that is going to be a substantial amount of money. So, yes, sir.
Similar for us, my
Yes, sir.
construction company guys came over and met,
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, not on paper, but just off the right, he's just like, there's way more in here than you can see.
That's
And
right.
fear is that you could give a number and it could be double, triple, kind of what Kevin alluded to on the plumbing, with the roof lines and the way the joists and everything are. I haven't seen it, but it's kind of what, I mean, same thing you're
Yeah.
saying. There's no telling what
It's going to be, the only thing I can tell you truthfully, without any hesitation, is that it's going to be expensive. That's the only thing I can tell you. But we are behind the 8 ball here because we can't move forward until these things are done. So our quandary is, we're either stymied and we cannot proceed, and we end up getting slower and slower, business-wise, as far as staff goes. Or we can expand, bite the bullet, and move on. Those are the options. Anything else? Do we have any questions on that before we make a motion?
Could the people that you're looking for, trying to get implemented in this space right away, can they be remote from here for temporary purposes, if you wanted to slow this down a little bit?
Well, I think that Javier is going to, Elias feels, and I agree with him, that the architect is going to be the one that is going to be in charge of getting the bids, Devin. So at this point, we're gonna go ahead and rely on the architect to station that remote. We can do remote, we normally can, we can do it in home building business or in the development business. I'm sure we can.
Well, no, I meant this office people that we want to put on the 3rd floor, all of them. Like a
Oh,
call center or whatever it may be in a remote location, or.
I don't know about that.
We're not there yet. What
Okay.
happened is during COVID, during the whole pandemic closures and all of that, one thing that we learned is that so many pieces in this place are connected to other pieces that these pieces can do remote, but the pieces they depend on or that come after them can't.
Okay.
And so that's logistically hard. We did buy laptops in part to help us get closer
But
to
you need
that,
everybody
but we're
to
not
work.
there yet.
Okay.
So,
Do we have reserves?
The money, Elias, is really the issue. That's why we bring that up now to the board, but go ahead, Elias.
oh, sure. I've got something like 50 suggestions from everybody, but nobody has suggested where it's going to come from. So in one of the, that's where everybody goes silent. So I'm on my own on that. But when we get to item 15, the luncheon and those 2 high-cost priority items will be discussed. So, because I have some ideas on that. But basically, long story short, fund balance, past money that we've been socking away. That's the only place we can't ask the entities in any single year for something this big.
The entities will not do that.
Not all at one time.
Yeah, not.
Political
so
suicide.
we have to get into the fund balance to see, and that,
How much is our fund balance right now?
right now, we have over $500,000 in the fund balance, don't we, Elias?
We have about 3.2 million, but we'll talk about that when we get to item 15.
Okay.
So why don't we
But
table this?
specifically targeted for,
Oh, for cash flows and stuff,
Yeah.
it's, oh gosh. Let's see, building maintenance, 100,000, capital improvements, 630,000, which is where I was thinking this might come from, because there's no specific project tied
so
to that.
it is over just $500,000. So we'll see, but then, of course, you start tapping it, and you quickly get to zero.
Mhm.
And so, anyway, we'll talk about that in this next item, or in the following items, Elias.
Uh-huh.
So can I have a motion to approve up to $100,000, Ronnie, on the floor renovation project?
Well, to approve us going forward with getting the
I'm
bids
sorry,
and moving forward with the project.
Okay, I'm getting confused
Is
with
there,
the numbers.
is there a cost associated with getting the bids? Is the architect going to be billing this?
He wants to be our, like, project manager over it, and it's all rolled into that. And I think his fee for the whole thing, from getting bids, design, all of this, all the way to the end, I think was, I want to say it was 46,000. It's in this thing somewhere.
About 48,000.
Does he act as a construction manager as well, or?
Yes.
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 Okay.
Because we told him, we don't know this subject
So he's
matter.
gonna get the bids, give us a apples-to-apples comparison. This contractor's gonna do this contractor's not gonna do this, so balancing out, this is what we're gonna get at the end. And then he's gonna, once we hire somebody, he's going to act as the, he's
Liaison.
gonna receive the pay request and things like that,
Mhm.
and approve them.
Yeah, we covered all that with him, like A to Z, you need to be with us because we're not experts on this, and we need somebody to advocate for us.
And they will be doing on-site inspections and documentation.
And we covered all that with him.
And what's his fee for that?
GC's 86,000, isn't it?
Yeah, I see something here, GC, general contractor, I just noticed it, the fee, 25% of whatever the construct, but he's got it in here, it's close to the bottom, like, it's the last detail item, 86,000, but I thought I remember 40-something thousand. Oh, maybe that's the stuff right above it.
I can't either.
read it, but okay.
I know, it's really tiny print, and it was a PDF, so I couldn't do anything with it. I tried to blow it up, turned it into a picture, and tried to, it just wouldn't come out. I believe he's got it here as 86, but I remember a figure of 46, but he must have revised it after we talked, because we called him back over here for like the third time to go back through everything. And we told him on that last visit, I think, Ronnie, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we told him, we want you to help us handle this A to Z. I mean, it's too complicated for us.
But if he's acting,
No, Elias, just make sure that, and I'm sure this is just, that the construction manager and the contractor are all bonded.
Oh, yeah, I would imagine, yeah. So there's my 51st suggestion.
Yeah.
Okay, so where's it gonna come from, the money? No.
Harbor Bridge comes into mind real quickly.
Oh,
Elias is, so he's gonna act as the general contractor then?
he's gonna act like us. He's gonna be our person for this.
I would just verify that this is that,
It's not a design build.
yeah, because
That's what I wanna know. Is it a design build?
You mean like
Like he
turnkey for him
designs it and he
doing?
builds it?
No, he doesn't have a construction company. His thing is, he seems to deal a lot with Barcom.
So basically, like a lot of these guys, they're gonna be architects, but they're gonna charge you a construction management fee, but that's on a different contract. And normally, if that's 7 to 10%, I don't think he's built that in here. This looks like
I couldn't
actual
see it.
cost.
I couldn't see it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think these
that's
are
what
actual
I'm
material
confused about.
costs and what a normal GC would run up. So he's actually telling us this is what a general contractor would charge us, and then his probably, I bet you, is on top of this.
I mean, I can clarify that with him, but
Because it
I could have
contains-
sworn it was all rolled into this.
Well, the reason, I believe Butch and Devin are on the right track, I think they are anyway, because we're looking at contingency fees that they put down at the very bottom,
Uh-huh.
the builder contingency fee.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, the contractor, and I don't see, I agree with them, I don't see any architectural fee or oversight fee by the architect. So that probably has to be on a separate contract. We just need to tie up these loose
Okay.
ends and make sure that we're all on the same page, Elias. And I'm
Okay.
not doubting Javier at all, but and the devil's in the details. And we
Okay.
just need to make sure that we have the bill.
Okay,
I-
then I'm thinking then, and I'm glad y'all noticed that, then it sounds to me, and I don't know, Ronnie, maybe you know something better than me, because I thought it was all rolled into this. It could be the 46,000 in addition to this.
The way that I've always done projects is we go out, we get bids. Well, we have a designer, we get bids.
Mhm.
We hire a general contractor that's going to do it, and then I have a construction manager who is my advocate that goes in and says, the fasteners are backwards, the parapet is wrong, that watches out, it's on daily site, that goes in, and we pay them a separate, like Devin said, it's a separate contract, separate fee. The general contractor is gonna try and get it done as fast and as cheap as possible, so the general contractor is a separate person. And so this is a construction manager that goes in and says, okay, you are 37% finished, and so you qualify for payment of this amount, and they check all the boxes and say, I agree, and then we pay.
Okay.
So that's kind of how we do it.
Okay, I'll confirm that with them, but what we're looking for y'all to do is to give us, now that you have a sense of this preliminary cost and everything, to give us permission to move forward with this. And I guess,
Well, those are questions we need to be asking him.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and take the motion so we can proceed forward just with the basic conversation. And Elias, at the next meeting, we can come back, if you would, and give us some feedback
okay,
as far as what they've said, because that's been the general practice that I do,
okay,
as far as GC and construction manager.
okay, got it.
So can I have a motion then, please?
What are we motioning? I'm sorry.
The motion is to proceed forward with discussions with the architect.
But no funds?
No.
Okay.
Nothing committed,
So
but
moved.
we will need the A&E though, so that well, I guess we can do that at the next meeting.
I move that we authorize to move forward with this project. Is that the motion you're looking for?
The motion
In
is,
regards to just the preliminary, I guess,
Bid process?
Do we even need to vote
Okay,
on that? We're not
before,
abstaining.
before we, if you could hold off on that motion just a second, Butch,
Okay.
please.
Do we even need,
Tom?
do we even need to make a motion if we're not extending any money at this
No,
point,
well,
just to move forward?
I-
Or just kind of
I
give
think to
general
hire
direction?
Javier, we do.
Well, I mean, are we
So that's
hiring?
funds then,
Because
right?
because I don't think we're at that stage where we're ready to hire based on the conversations I'm hearing.
And see,
I mean, because I think we've got some loose ends we need to,
Like
to-
Armando said, is we don't, how do we hire him if we don't know what he's gonna charge?
exactly.
Yeah, I think that's the 46, but I thought it was rolled in here, but I'll get clarity and we'll just do it
I
in
think maybe
January.
we need to,
Push it back to November.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
recommend
Before
We're
we
not
go
gonna do
there,
anything
let's go
until
ahead,
then.
Tom, do you have something?
I do, Mr. Chairman. 6.051 of the tax code requires notice to all of the taxing entities, and we're talking, we have about 35 taxing entities, of which about 22 of them actually vote on the appointment of board members, and this statute requires that you get the tax entities to approve by 3/4 vote the renovation or construction of a building that you own. So as part of this process, we're gonna have to be noticing tax entities, and they're gonna have to have a 30-day window in which to look at our project and approve it. So whatever we do is gotta have their blessing.
Okay,
I don't
thank you,
think-
Tom.
But we're gonna need to go to them with a cost.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
Okay, well,
that's-
we'll just get it all firmed up, but I thought it was all rolled into this.
See, now, the last renovation we had here in the building, correct me if I'm wrong, we didn't go through that process of whatever the code says. We just went ahead and redid the third floor. We also redid the roof. We also redid the air conditioning, without the approval of the entities.
Is there a
There was no
percentage?
notification for them, other than what we had done. I think the renovation back then cost us about, this was back in the year 2013 or 14, for the roof and the air conditioner, it was about 827,000 that we used to do that. Then, when we renovated the third floor, like it is today, that cost us another, I think it was about 200,000 or 300,000 compared to what we're looking at today. Back then, for some reason or other, we didn't go through a lot of notifications for doing what we were having to do, and call it luck or just doing the right thing. But that's where we were at that point. I was not aware that we had to go through that process of notifying them. But if that's what we need to do, then we have to do that. But all we're needing clarity right now is just to give us authority to continue with the process, because I am only allowed up to 50,000 to grant a contract or a purchase or something along those lines. Anything over that, I need board approval, so we can move forward to do what needs to get done.
But that's what I'm confused by is, are we approving funds to move forward? Or are we just saying move forward?
Do you guys agree with us going further down the road on this project?
Yes, but that doesn't involve funds.
Okay.
There's no funds being involved.
Right, not yet.
Right.
This is
Too
just
soon for
to
that.
get more information.
So I don't think it's an
You know, my suggestion would be that following up on what Tom said on that tax code, that right now, first of all, we're in the holiday period, so not much is gonna be done. There appears to be a lot of confusion with amongst all of us. I would suggest that maybe Melissa do some research and kind of at the next meeting guide us as to what to do. Because right now, we're
Would the
all
plumbing
confused.
issue be covered by this requirement?
No.
that's maintenance.
No.
Plumbing's under the building, this is the upper floor of the building.
Okay. This
So
is a
it wouldn't
remodel.
require anything under the 6.0 authorization?
I guess
Well,
it's-
All the construction and
I'm sure
renovation.
it's threshold.
And I would just point out, there are distinctions between maintenance and upkeep versus new construction. And we have been able to use those distinctions in the past to get some of these projects done. This is clearly gonna be a completely new renovation of the third floor.
Is there a dollar threshold, a percentage threshold? It just, if you call it renovation, then this applies.
So, you know, we tiptoe through this stuff, and we've gotten around it in the past.
Yeah.
But it is something to note, and tax entities, And if Ronnie can do anything, and I gotta say it's one of his strengths, is he has a better relationship with our tax entities than any of our chief appraisers in the past. And as long as we're informed, it should work out.
Bless you, buddy.
Because we already will be able to provide the money for this project when it happens.
The question remains, do we wanna, if we approve this motion according to the way I understand it, please correct me if I'm wrong, that all we're doing is approving further conversation with the architect. Is that correct?
Well, what we envisioned was hiring the architect, but I guess what we can turn this into is just, if you guys think we should move down which we recommend, want to move down the road further, we just won't spend anything, but we'll get clarity on that. I
think
did
we need
text
to
him,
get-
I'm waiting for him to text me back, but I thought he said it was all rolled into one.
Well, but the thing is that so, just so we understand, I want to make abundantly clear that we are not authorizing any payment to anyone.
Yeah, that's fine.
So you need a motion to move forward
Just if the board concurs that we should
Further
move forward with the
clarity.
project.
on
Yeah,
the project before expending projects, before expending funds,
No, there's no money being exchanged.
Right.
before.
Well, if there's no money being exchanged, we don't even need a motion, this is
Yeah.
direction.
I think we just need to go.
And
Yeah.
secondarily, part of this was asking to enter into a contract, and we're not entering into a contract.
No, we're not
You
entering
can't
any
enter a
contract.
without knowing the fee, so I don't think we need any action on this.
I think we just need a proposal from the architect.
Yeah, we need to know what it's costing.
Okay, so let me ask you this, then, does the board concur that we should just keep going with this project as far as exploring it and all of that?
And Kevin brings
Like-
up a good point. We're not talking about any money. You just continue and come that time to where Javier needs to, we're gonna have to meet here. And then let's talk about some dollars. at
Okay,
that point.
that's fine.
Yeah, we can put
Yeah.
them on the agenda for next month or next meeting.
That's fine. And this is just kind of a preview, introduction, whatever, but I guess what we're trying to figure out is if there's anybody on the board that has heartburn over doing anything on that third floor. Because we're just at the starting point, we don't want to do any more work on this unless the board says, yes, we would entertain this project.
I can't speak for the board. I can speak only for myself. I am all in as far as improving and getting everything ready for the third floor. Because if we don't, we are stymied in growth. And
Sure.
we need to move on down the road. And just kicking the can down the road isn't the answer. So, but at this time, the way the board would feel I think would feel much more comfortable with the architect coming in and let's talk and let's get numbers and understand what we're getting into and at the same time, maybe, like Tom said, give Ron an opportunity to address the taxing entities and see where we're going on this thing. What do you think, Ronnie?
I think that all we want is direction to make sure that we are in line to do what needs to get done. We're trying to move ahead on the project because as time goes, the cost on the project is going up. It's not coming down. And we're not trying to rush into it. And like I said before, one is you need to understand that this is a lot older building. We need space for future staff members. And the last one is that we had done the remodeling about several years ago, and that was a cost of almost $900,000.
Right.
If you come in to the first floor and you look by the elevator, where you press your button on your right-hand side, there is a certificate to allow us to do what we did to the city, and in there it's a noted 827 or 37,000. Again, that was for the air conditioner and the third floor, and then that was by then after that, like I said, we remodeled the third floor to accommodate the ARB staff and the ARB, what do you call them, rooms for the ARB members, and then also for the IT department for GIS, and also the actual personnel of moving upstairs, which was a very good, all the rooms and everything else was very nice, and it was costly. But now we're looking at a lot more money than what we did a couple of years ago on remodeling the third floor. In order for us to move forward, we just want to make sure that everybody's aware as to what we're doing and what kind of goal we're trying to accomplish. And that's the blessing that we want from the board.
And I think the board agrees. I
Yes.
think we all look at it, this has to be done. I see a number of $475,000. I think what the board is asking is, can we get clarification?
Right.
What's the role
That's
gonna be
exactly right.
of Javier? So I think we table this. Maybe Javier can come in and give a presentation at the next meeting so we can
Sure.
vote on it at that
No, that's
time.
fine. We can do
I
that.
think, yeah.
And one minor suggestion, have him bring, or can you all bring a better print, because it's hard for me to read it.
Yes, we can have him bring a bigger one.
Something bigger, maybe
At what
even,
point do we
maybe
need to
even
know?
give it to Neil to where he could,
Blow it up.
yeah,
So I
blow
don't,
it up and
On the
get it ready,
bottom.
because you've got, well, in LA's case, you've got 90-year-old eyes looking at this thing, and, you know,
So-
it's difficult.
so I don't think we need a motion. I think we
No.
just say, please move forward and we go
I
on.
agree with you. We can go ahead and table this motion and then move on with it, Elias.
Okay, as long as we don't see any deal breakers that say, no, stop, we don't want this.
Right.
No,
I
no.
don't think we're gonna say that.
No, we're not there.
Right.
We want clarification,
Right.
that's it.
Okay.
I just have one more question on this, though. At what point do we notify the tax units?
It's all part of the plan, I think, after your architect tells you when he thinks he can start.
After we have the expenses or,
And
or,
You wanna trigger that 30-day window, be careful that you can meet the requirements to get all those meetings accomplished within that 30-day window.
okay.
Now, can
Melissa,
I?
take notes.
Yes, sir.
No, I'm not sure, Tom. I'd have to get clarity on that code, but I thought that when we need to do things like that, it would have to be an amendment to the budget, because we are looking for additional funds that is not in the budget for us to do that.
I think that's
Is
part of
that-
the, I think that's part of the notification.
Yeah, because see, but if we have the monies in the budget, I think that's what happened when we renovated the third floor. We didn't go to the entities to allow them to have input as to what we were doing here.
When we
So
did-
that's the
Well,
only thing I'm
look,
waiting for. I just wanna make sure.
We're getting into
We're on
the
the right
weeds on
path.
this thing.
Yeah.
We haven't really clarified or amplified any of this thing. The first thing we need to do is meet with Javier. You guys proceed on, and let's
Okay.
meet with Javier.
Yes, sir.
Let's move on to the next item.
Okay.
The chief is hoping.
The discussion or action related to waiving penalties for entities. Elias?
All right, so we had one entity, this is in tab 13, we had one entity that their payment was late this year, it was the third quarter of 2022, Cal Allen ISD. So we're trying to, the code says they have to pay a 5% penalty and then interest at 10% until the day we receive it. Well, we have that, and we have the amount, in total for all that, it's $3,865.36. I think it's their director of finance reached out to Irene and said, can you please waive that for us? And we told them, we'll ask the board later in the year. However, there's kind of two sides to the story, so I'm going to kind of advocate or whatever and give you guys what I know of this case.
We had it happen with Del Mar, right?
I'm sorry?
Yes.
What did we do with Del Mar? Let's do the same thing we did with Del Mar College.
Well, but each case is different, but I mean, if y'all want to do it that way, that's fine
Because
too.
this isn't unprecedented. We've done this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did we forget what?
I think with Del Mar, we made them pay some fee, but
I
it
think we,
wasn't.
yeah, waived the interest but made them pay the penalty, I think it was.
I can't remember, but
We did one and not
we
the
did
other.
assess them
Okay.
something, but it wasn't a heavy, it wasn't the full.
Okay.
And I
So,
think even
given
Banquete,
this-
we did it also for Banquete, I think. But
So I just think we
But-
should be consistent.
let's just go ahead, because we can't do it for one and not for the other, quite frankly. So
Okay.
let's just go ahead and accept it. Yes, sir.
I do have a question. The last comment on here that it was sent certified mail and it was returned, is that on us or is that, did that not get delivered because the school was closed?
Didn't get delivered because the school was closed. There was nobody there signed for it.
Okay, so both of those were, okay. Good, can I make you?
Was it closed for Thanksgiving? What was?
Summer.
Oh, summer, okay.
Uh-huh. See, the thing with them, like I said, there's two sides to their story. On the one hand, Irene sends them letters, she sends emails, she says all this stuff to tell them, hey, it's coming. We send an annual letter, we send one before it's due, like an invoice, even though there's no obligation on us to do that. On the other hand, she was out of the country, the school is closed about that time. I mean, I can kind of see why it happened, but there's no history of them ever being late. Surely they know how to make arrangements for this kind of thing. They see it coming, it's once a quarter. So, and I think Del Mar's, that was simply they had employee turnover. That's not the case in this case. I think Ben Ketty or somebody else, each one has a different story.
I think we're kind of giving a one-time pass for everybody.
Yeah, I would accept the motion to waive penalties at this time. LA makes that motion. A second, please.
Second.
Who was that? Butch?
Second.
Makes seconds that motion. Any discussion?
Question?
All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
Okay, when you say, I have a clarification because we don't know what to do. Just the penalty part or the whole thing?
What, I'm sorry, I lost this,
I'm sorry.
what did we do here? What was the motion?
The motion was to waive the penalties for the entities.
Well, it's not,
And is
it's
that
not,
what
bro-
we've done in the past?
Yes, that's what we've done in the
One
past.
time.
All right,
we did it for Ben Ketty.
all right.
And it's penalties.
Okay,
But
just
it-
the penalty piece because the
Yes.
interest is still there.
Well,
Yes.
I think you're correct, it was just the interest.
you got 13 days of interest, and do you really want to make all done there?
Well, that's what I'm saying is I thought we were doing P and I.
I mean, at 10%, I mean, you're talking on $3,000, charging what, $2.50?
So we're gonna,
Maybe.
we're gonna waive.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we're doing what the code says to do, and then we bring it to you for the forgiveness of it. Now, do you guys want to just blow off the whole thing? Because that's fine too.
Right.
You can do that.
I think we, like Kevin said, it's kind of ridiculous to go back and get, well, give us our $3.09, or whatever it is. But again, these are the entities we're gonna go to and say, hey, we also want approval of our remodel budget, so.
We're gonna waive you $3, but we do need $300,000.
Not suggesting quid pro quo, but.
So, go ahead.
I would recommend that we fully waive P and I.
Okay.
This is the first time thing because I think this is the first time Cal Allen has come under that scrutiny. We've had other districts in the past where we have waived both, and then after that, if it comes up again, there is a question as to whether we enforce the P and I. But in this case, I think we should be able to waive both P and I, and it's strictly just Cal Allen
Okay.
at this point.
Well, if that being said, would you accept a motion, an amendment to that motion then? That the interest be included in the penalties? So there's no, they don't have to pay anything?
Or do we reissue the motion to waive the penalties and the interest?
Okay. Okay.
So move. I move that we waive the penalties and interest
All
for Cal
right.
Allen ISD.
All right.
Second.
Any seconds? Devin seconds it. Any discussion? All in favor for the revised motion, please vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Let the record show it passed unanimously. Thank you very much. Item number 14.
I'm
budget-
afraid to get into this one now.
budget
Okay,
line
here we
items.
go. All right, item 14. This is a forecast to the end of the year. There's a snapshot on page 53 and then details on 54 and 55. It's going to be a little unusual this year because overall, and I'm just going to speak plainly here, overall it looks like on paper we busted budget by $449,863. However, that third line up, litigation fund, that funding rolls from year to year in the fund balance. So we put it in the fund balance, $500,000 each year, but then it spends at all different times. So that $599,000 off the table because it's being covered by what's in the fund balance. What's left, we have overages, particularly in legal. That was our big challenge this year. We have overs and underspending in all these different places, and just as we go through, like maybe we'll overspend in office supplies and underspend in fuel. We've got all that covered. So after litigation fund is off the table, and after the money has been moved from line to line, which is details are on that next page, that leaves us with $149,842 estimated surplus at December 31st. That in the next board agenda item, we'll talk about what to do with it. But suffice to say here, everything is covered.
Any questions?
So it's a timing issue that's gonna put us over?
No, only on the litigation fund, because we have years where we have 500,000 in budget, and we get that money from the entities, but we only spend 30,000.
What's this?
This year, it was the opposite. We have 500,000, but we spent all that 500 plus past year's money that's sitting in the fund balance.
So, okay, so can you have a rolling budget like that?
Yes, because
Okay.
we reserve it in our fund balance, so that's what it's for.
Should we categorize a fund balance then? So a fund balance with reserves for legal, reserves for, I mean, do we do it that way? Just
We
so
do.
we, okay,
Yeah, we already do that, and you'll see that in the next budget item.
okay.
Agenda item. But suffice to say for this, everything is covered, and we got 149,000 estimated at the end of the year. And in the next board agenda item, we're going to classify that fund balance. Okay? So, but everything is covered other than litigation, but that money is in the fund balance. We were able to stay within the budget otherwise.
Okay. Okay. Does anyone have any other questions for Elias?
Do we need a motion?
Motion
approve?
to approve the budget
Yeah,
transfers?
we
Yeah,
need a
because
motion. Yes.
we're moving money around the budget.
Okay.
Motion to approve the budget transfers is presented.
I'll second.
Motion made by Armando, seconded by Leo. Any further discussion, please? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you very much. And now we go to item number 15, fund balance designations. This is where we're going to get into that, Butch. Elias, go ahead.
Okay, so continuing on with the previous agenda item, we've got 449,863, again, plainly speaking, in the hole. And this is where it drops into the kitty, the general fund, and that's what this is. So the first column of numbers is what we came into the year with, and it's categorized. That's the money in the bank at the beginning of the year. Appraisal districts usually start with 0 at the beginning of the year, 0 at the end of the year, refund everything. We're keeping ours from past years. So this is past year's money in the first column and what it's for, the commitments or the designations of that. So the different colors of money in the one bank account. Then the 449,000, this is where it is in the middle column, where it ends up. For example, if you'll zone in on the litigation fund, which is like the fourth item down in the grid, we came into the year with 1.1 million. 599,000 is going to come out of that 1.1 million to cover that overage that we talked about in the other agenda item. And the 149 that's left over from the budget after that's covered is going to go straight, we're proposing that it go straight to litigation fund because that's really taken off. And then everything else stays the same, except the litigation fund will go from coming into the year 1.1 million. We'll leave the year with 657,000. These numbers are all estimates. You get a chance to revisit this when the audit is done and we have the final numbers for the year.
And that'll be in May?
Usually it's in May.
Yeah.
So we just don't want to end the year and have audited financial statements that say undesignated money is some amount. So we try to attach a purpose to each one of these, and a valid purpose. We're not making this stuff up. We always need money, as we talked about with the third floor. So we keep the money and we designate it for specific purposes to not indicate to the public or whoever looks at our financial statements that we have idle funds sitting there when we don't. There's purposes attached to it. So this is where we think it should end up. If you guys want to look it over, ask questions, make changes to it, or say, no, I want that 149 to go elsewhere, that's fine too. This is just our guess at what you guys might want us to do. And so we think it's prudent to stick the 599 coming out of the litigation. I have no choice. That's what that money's for. But the 149,842 surplus, we are suggesting put it into the litigation fund because that's the thing that's really taken off. But it can go anywhere else.
No, leave litigation.
Well, okay, so
We have to, well, we don't have to do anything, but it is strongly my suggestion that we move that 149,000 into the litigation fund.
I agree.
And
So-
we need every penny we can get into that.
I
Yes,
make
sir.
the motion that we move $149,842 to the litigation fund.
Motion
Second.
made by Butch. Is there a second?
Second.
LA seconds that motion. Any discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. Really appreciate your attention on this. And thank you, Elias. Ron.
Sure.
Let's go ahead and, now we're gonna move into executive session. Hold on, folks. Well, in light of going into executive session, let's go ahead and call my good friend Terry Nowak to go ahead and give us your presentation, Terry.
Good morning, everyone, and my apologies for being late. I kept looking for an email. Anyway, I love you. So I've updated this several times. I'm sure you've seen those. The first thing I'd like to address is the update on Mr. Titlebaum. Judge, remember you tabled that in October. Judge Valdez chose to have a hearing to, regarding those complaints that were filed by property owners against Mr. Titlebaum. That took place on November 4th. I won't comment on that. I'll just say that his decision was that Mr. Titlebaum will remain on the ARB and will complete his term, which is December of 2023. So he has only one more year to serve. And so the judge decided that the evidence wasn't sufficient to remove him, and so he'll remain on the ARB. That was my reaction. Okay, as far as the rest of the ARB goes, Judge Valdez did make the appointments for the 2023-2024 season. We still have 2 vacant auxiliary positions, and I'm working really hard to fill those. We lost multiple, well, Carolyn Smith termed out, John Cook termed out, John White retired, Cindy Doyle's retired. Is that it? I think that was it. We had a lot of people leaving and coming and whatever. So there's still 2 auxiliary vacancies, but I am already in the process of setting up interviews with people to fill those positions. Mr. Tiller is our new ARB chair. Judge Valdez appointed Lee Tiller, so you'll be seeing his face at the meetings. We're all very excited. I have all the confidence in the world in Mr. Tiller, so, and I'm looking forward to working with him more intensely than I did last year when he was, and I want to tell you, he was an auxiliary. He came on last year as an auxiliary and just did such a fabulous job and was chairing panels by the time June came around, and just, he's wonderful. I'm very confident in him. And Miss Evans, Senator Evans, will remain as secretary. Brian McCabe resigned to become an arbitrator for the comptroller. I spoke with him a couple days ago, and he has not yet been appointed, but he has completed all the paperwork and all the training and everything, so he's looking forward to doing that. And I think Brian will be very good at that. He'll be really good. But he was kind of disappointed that he hasn't been appointed yet, so I'm waiting to hear from him how that goes. But I think he'll do a great job on that. I'm also asking, now that I've told you we have 2 vacant auxiliary positions, I'm asking you to consider increasing the number of auxiliaries by 3. Last year, when the ARB had 5 panels, you need 16 people to do 5 panels. And there were days when we couldn't do that because the ARB didn't have enough people available. But even when they did, it was touch and go. If somebody called in sick, they couldn't do it. So with more auxiliaries, that'll free up the scheduling. I think it'll make the ARB more efficient. It's not going to increase the budget because they're only paid when they're here. So we'll use the same number of auxiliaries, but we'll have more available as far as scheduling goes. And again, it was, as you remember, at the end of the season, we ran into a couple issues with that. So I appreciate it if you would consider increasing the size of the number of auxiliaries.
If I remember correctly, Terry, please correct me if I'm wrong, but that we had to cancel a couple of meetings because we didn't have the appropriate number of people here.
We had to decrease the number of panels.
Right, well, that's what I mean, yeah.
Yes, we did.
Okay. All
Well,
right.
they did.
Do you need a motion from the board to increase the three
Yes.
members?
Mhm.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for Terry before we try to make that motion?
The only time that we'll see an increase will be as if they're actually used, if you use
Correct.
all the members.
Right, right.
And there were times when we had 5 panels, and last year was the first year they ever had 5 panels. Because, as you all know, they were just crazy busy last year. So that's the only time you'll see an increase in the budget. But even with using those 5 panels as often as they did last year, they still came in under budget, so
Okay.
that was
Okay.
really good.
I move that we increase the number of the auxiliary members to 11.
Which makes a motion to increase the so desired members. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Devin seconds that motion. Any further discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you very much, Terry.
Thank you. Thank you all. Have a Merry Christmas.
And Mr. Tiller,
Happy
congratulations on your ARB chairmanship, and we wish you the very best, sir. And Terry seems to think a lot of you, and so you're already on board. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service. Okay, now we'll go ahead and get Mr. Brenner. Robin, are you there?
I am, can you hear me?
All right, we're gonna go ahead and get Robin on board before we go into closed session, in case we have any questions for him. Ronnie?
No, go ahead, Robin.
Good morning.
It is just to allow us to understand what it is that we're up to with the additional things that we need to discuss. Everything so far has gone pretty smooth. So you can add whatever it is that we're trying to get to.
And I
by
read
the
your,
end of the year.
I read your latest memos on that, Robin, and everything seems to be working real well. But can you go ahead and enlighten the board on what you're up to right now, or
We don't-
Melissa?
I think probably for this discussion, we would need to take it into executive
Yeah, that's what I was
session.
gonna say.
Go into a closed session?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then Robin, please forgive me. I thought that we were being able to talk to you beforehand to sort of cut our bill. You know how it is. But anyway, let's go ahead and go into executive session pursuant to Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code 551.071. With that, let's go ahead and go into executive session. Thank you.
Stay on, Robin.
Stay on.
proposal with the Brennan Law Firm.
I'll second.
Armando makes a motion to postpone the contingency contract with Brennan Law Firm, and LA seconds that. But before we go there, we haven't voted on on Devin's motion.
Sorry.
So, let's go ahead and vote on the motion by Devin. All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass unanimously. Thank you. Now we'll go to Armando's motion, which was to postpone Monday.
Postpone the contingency proposal with the Brennan Law Firm.
LA seconds.
By the, yeah.
Good.
Any discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass unanimously. Thank you very much. Any other motions?
Mr. Chairman, I move to ratify the agreement with Flato for the land appraisal.
Second.
Motion made by Butch Poole to ratify the amendment by Plato, seconded by Kevin Keishnick. Any discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Let the record show it passed unanimously. Thank you.
Did anyone do the downstream?
Any other,
I'm
any
doing
other?
downstream now. Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the downstream scope 3 payment.
Butch makes a motion to approve the downstream advisor payments. A second?
I'll second.
Leo seconds that motion. Any further discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Let the record show that everything has passed and one motion has been postponed. Thank you for your patience, gentlemen. Let's go ahead and move on to item number 18, the discussion relative to ratify all board action taken during 2022 board meetings. Tom?
Yes, sir, this is an annual motion that we make. Technically, if we miss something along the way from a public notice standpoint, or we didn't word a particular line item properly, we can ratify the work that the board did subsequently, and it cleans up the record. That's why we do this.
So moved.
LA makes that motion. A second, please.
Second.
Butch Poole seconds that motion. Any discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Let the record show it passed unanimously. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
the document that was passed out with attorney-client privilege, should we pick that up?
Oh, yes, sir. I'm sorry. Thank you, Butch. This document, please.
Secretary Pickleball?
Here you go, Secretary. You're the ugly secretary I've ever seen.
That's a compliment. Madam, no hair.
Thank you.
You're good. No hair. I mean,
I've been called worse than that.
oh, no, you haven't waited till the end of the meeting. Okay. Now we're gonna go to the chief appraiser's report. Ronnie?
Yes, sir. Update on the parking lot outside. That's already been done, and it's been striped. The only thing we're waiting for are for the handicap signs to get put on there properly. Other than that, it looks very nice, and so far, I had no complaints. On the electricity provider strategy, Elias, I think we're still waiting on that to get a better price, or?
Still holding out for better rates. That
Right.
contract doesn't expire until May. We've just been watching it every month.
Correct. And then, as far as the holiday gatherings, right after our board meeting today, we have a Christmas luncheon for all staff and board of directors at the Barbecue Man at the Cantina, which is right next door to it. And this is the first time in what, 2 years, 3 years, Willie? We've had COVID, and that's the reason why.
Man, I haven't had any barbecue since then. Go ahead.
I believe this guy. So anyway, so we are finally getting back together again, and it's really a nice luncheon. It's a time for us to actually thank staff and board of directors for the work that they do on a yearly basis. And of course, to also say thank you in a big way. And then, of course, want to say thank you once again to Mr. Wheat for the time and service that he's dedicated to the appraisal district on his 30-plus years. Staff, which is basically here, and that's Mr. Carrington with Commercial Land Department. You got Christine back here, who's Homestead Exemptions Department. Jessica in the back, she's personal property. And we got Leticia back here in real estate. And they all would want to thank you for the time that you've been here, Tom, because you have also worked with them on an individual basis over the years. So saying once again, thank you very much, sir. And thank the entire staff for the work that they do, and have a Merry Christmas.
At the risk of redundancy, I wish all of you all the same thing, especially to my dear friend Ronnie Canales, who has done a yeoman's job this year. In spite of everything that we faced, he persevered and did everything excellently. And all kidding aside, Ronnie, thank you for your work. And as a board, we take things sometimes like for granted, but let me tell you that working with Ronnie on several different things, and he's at my office a lot, unfortunately, but he is really doing so much stuff that we're not even aware of as a board. And thank you again, Ronnie. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jerry.
And suggested items for next regular meeting, Melissa, you already know what we need, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. And anything else for regular meeting next month? Mr. Wheat, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Tom. And with that, it is now 11:07, and I'm hangry, so the meeting is over with.